And we welcome you back to the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. First conference game as a member of the ACC for Syracuse, and they're getting a very rude welcome from the visitors today. The third-ranked team in the country, Clemson, dominating Syracuse in the first half, leading 35-7. 439 yards of offense, and that have 9 yards per play. Looking very much like one of the best teams in the country, if not the best.
Well, the thing about it, you have a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback in Taj Boyd, and he uses all the weapons. And Chad Morris does a great job of calling a game. Now, if you're Scott Schaefer, what do? Well, you're looking for your guys to fight. I mean, a first-year coach, you don't want these guys to lay down. So that's what I'm looking for, to see how Syracuse responds if they come out and fight and execute at a little higher level.
Bradley Pinion will kick off. Scott Shaver said yesterday, we'll find out how much work we have to do to be competitive in the ACC by playing this bunch. They certainly have a long way to go. George Morris, the return, again did not reach the 20. And here's Shannon Spake.
Pretend like it's opposite day and do exactly opposite of what you did in the first half and the second half. That is what Scott Schaefer told his team in the locker room during the halftime break. He says he has 2 goals in the second half: to get 2 big defensive turnovers and 5 big defensive hits. But he told his guys to come out and play like the score is 0-0.
He needs to get some offensive goals in there with those defensive goals.
Terrell Hunt. Ducks down after crossing the 25. Stephon Anthony chased him down. Hunt just 6 out of 14 in the first half passing for 25 yards in his first 2 interceptions of the year. Jerome Smith, who scored the Syracuse touchdown on a 63-yard run that made it 21-7. Taken down by Jaron Kearse, backup safety, true freshman from Fort Myers. And this is several times this year Dabo Swinney's staff had the benefit, if they want to, getting playing time for younger players, less experienced players in a one-sided game. They had opener against Georgia. They had a laugher against South Carolina State. Then they had the competitive game against NC State, but last week at home, similar to this, a rout of Wake Forest.
Just developing depth as the season goes on.
Really, in 3 out of 5 games, they could empty the bench if they wanted to. Hunt has a man wide open. Ashton Broyle tackled from behind. It saved the touchdown. Martin Jenkins able to corral him.
Well, because you're having Kearse, your safety, up tight, it's leaving the middle of the field exposed because your other safety's cheating to the outside. And a good read by Hunt to Broyle for first down and a big offensive place for the Orange men in blue.
32-yard gain, so Hunt's more than doubled his passing yardage today on that one play. Prince Tyson Gully. Give the Orange credit. You saw Coach Schaefer right down to where Gully was tackled to applaud the effort. And they've come out battling despite the fact that they were dominated in that first half. And I would imagine Coach Schaefer, based on the replay we saw when Clemson elected to forego the field goal, went for the touchdown, that he was probably even more fired up than he would have been at the half. Hunt taken down for a loss by Shaq Lawson.
One of the talented young players, true freshman, Shaq. Sean, this is an important half for Hunt. Not necessarily that he brings them back to victory, but how he performs. You have a young quarterback playing against competition. You want him to rise to the occasion.
Tyson Gully managed to slide through a hole and into the end zone. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Starts with the double team again. Watch the offensive linemen work in tandem. You have Mackie McPherson on one side, Trudeau on the other side. They work in tandem, get to the second level, and that success that they've had running the football is because the offensive linemen are working in tandem and getting on linebackers to spring them. Because their safeties are so close, there's a wide open middle.
Ryan Norton takes the extra point. If you're wondering, there is a Ryan Norton on each team. The starting center for Clemson is also named Ryan Norton. 28-yard touchdown run has brought a little life back on that Syracuse sideline. Today's telecast is available in high definition. Brought to you by Vizio. ACC battle number 3, Clemson leading Syracuse 35-14. Orange took the opening drive of the second half and marched down the field. 82 yards in 7 plays. Brian Norton kicks off. It's a touchback. Here's Chris Cotter in the studio.
Sean, Indiana's Nate Sudfeld looked like an AT&T All-American today. 321 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns. The Hoosiers beat the Nittany Lions for the first time ever, 44-24. Get involved. Text your vote for the AT&T All-American of the Week to 34763. Sean?
Everybody knew Kevin Wilson was going to bring some offense, and they got it rolling. Now if they can get that defense up there, they were my most improved team in the Big Ten coming into the season.
Taj Boyd comes out slinging. Mon Hopper taken down right away by Darrell Eskridge. Chris showed us the Penn State highlight. That was the game that really stuck in Scott Schaefer's craw. They had an opening loss in his first game as a head coach. There are the huge numbers for Boyd. 364, probably on his way to a career high. His touchdown career high is 5. But Scott Schaefer felt there were 4 or 5 plays they left on the field against Penn State in the opener, which they played in the Meadowlands. And they lost by 6 points. McDowell up the middle. Eric Kroom made the tackle. Some of the fans have left this homecoming game, but those who remain, many of them getting on their feet. They appreciate this effort.
I think you got to get behind your new coach, and this is going to say a lot about Scott Schaefer and the respect that he has for the crowd and plus his players. Are they going to respond to his demands? And so far, early on in the second half, they have.
Boyd pressured, throws, incomplete. Threw it behind Martavis Bryant. And a 3 and out. Second 3 and out of the game for the Clemson offense. Bradley Pinion to punt to Richie Desir. Beautiful punt. High, deep, but some room for Desir. And he's taken down to the 28-yard line by Robert Smith. 51-yard punt, return of 8.
Sean, the one thing you want to, we talk about how Syracuse is going to respond. Well, if you're Clemson, you don't want to come out and be complacent and content. You got to come out and keep driving that hammer. And right now, Dabo needs to say, okay, boys, we're going to be in for a fight. Let's come out and drop the hammer. And offense or defense didn't either.
Terrell Hunt sets up the screen, but he threw it over the head of Prince Tyson Gully. Here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Sean, defensive coordinator Brent Venables for Clemson, he came over to his defense. He did not like what he saw in that last drive. He told some of the guys he thought that they took some plays off. He looked right at him and he said, we got ourselves in a little hole now, guys. We got to get ourselves out.
So one thing, you want to come out with killer instinct.
Here's Jerome Smith, close to another first down. Tripped up by Spencer Shuey. In addition to being an excellent linebacker, he's an outstanding student. 2 times academic all ACC, already with a degree in management. Brent Venables loves him. So you never have to ask him to do something twice. Smith did not get the first down. Vic Beasley made the tackle. If you're Scott Schaefer, do you think about going for this? I would. You're down by, you have to score every time you touch the ball, realistically, if you have a chance to win the game.
Well, you know me. I mean, I'm not playing it safe, and especially in this situation, you're sending your message to the team. You're not quitting. We'll do everything to win. And plus, you're challenging your guys up front. I give it to Big Jerome. Let him go get it.
They are going for it. Hunt keeps, first down, and much more. Robert Smith made the tackle.
A good job of ball handling right here by Terrell Hunt. Designed run all the way with the pooler coming around. He just stays patient, finds a hole, and accelerates through. Good call by George McDonald, the offensive coordinator.
Another false start. This will be the 6th penalty against Syracuse.
False start. Offense number 55, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Rob Trudeau. Clemson penalized just once for 5 yards. Hunt with time, a 4-man rush, throwing deep into single coverage and almost picked off again by Bashad Breeland. Intended for Jeremiah Kobina. Here's Chris.
Let's take you to the ACC. Georgia Tech in Miami. You know, Georgia Tech led 17-7 in this game, but Stephen Morris brings the Canes right back, finding Allen Hurns. Eludes a tackler, goes 69 yards. Canes have scored 17 straight. They lead now by a touchdown late in the third.
Another good quarterback out of the ACC, Stephen Morris.
On 2nd and 15, Hunt didn't have a throwing lane. He gets splattered by Vic Beasley just behind the line of scrimmage.
The speed, man. Speed kills. Vic Beasley plays bigger than 235. He's coming off the back edge. You see the athletic ability just to chase him down from behind, and that's where Hunt has to learn that an incomplete pass is an okay play.
Hunt got belted as he throws. Diving attempt for an interception by Darius Robinson. And it is the 3rd interception of the day for Clemson. And his 2nd.
Nice job of turning into an athlete. You see that Darius Robinson makes a tough catch, covering deep on the seam route.
So the Tigers will take over at their own 38.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Kingsford Charcoal. Don't forget Kingsford Charcoal and everything else you need for game day tailgating. Available at Walmart. And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Back at Syracuse University, homecoming weekend. A little off and on rain this morning. Warm and humid inside the building. And Clemson, after the 3rd interception of the day by its defense, takes over. 3 and out on their first possession of the second half of the Tigers. Boyd, ricochet. Looked like it was caught by Richie Desir. He's out of bounds. Off the hands of Stanton Seckinger, the tight end.
Good effort right here by Desir coming over, bobbling a little bit, doing a good job of trying to drag those feet. See if he had. Oh, wait, yeah, that looked pretty close. It looked to me like his feet were in bounds.
You think the replay booth at least would stop it? It did not. Whoa, now they do. I think they're.
The previous ruling on the field was an incomplete catch. The play is under further review.
They had a little trouble with the communication to the field because that was a little bit late. John Armstrong is the replay official. Are his toes dragging when he has possession of the ball? Looks like from there they are.
I think the
crowd just saw the same replay you saw. They think so.
Second interception by Taj Boyd, and similar, both balls were thrown high and off deflections.
On the Syracuse sideline, they're already celebrating. They are assuming that this is a foregone conclusion. And they definitely completed the catch. They have possession of the ball, or his toes are in bounds, or any part of him down out of bounds. No, it looks like his toes are dragging. The knee hasn't touched the ground yet when he has it.
I think the hard
has
thing
to be indisputable.
The hard thing to see is, does he complete the catch? We can see from that angle if that ball's moving around after he hits the ground.
Looked like we did from the other angle. Well, it looks like they're taking some notes, and a lot of times that means they're figuring out where to mark the ball on an overturn. That's just a guess. Were Syracuse to score again, you wonder if Dabo Swinney would start to second guess his decision at the end of the half not to take more points and kick that field goal.
Well, I think, yeah, well, obviously you would, but I think, Sean, what he's thinking is that they were rolling so well that if they didn't get it, it doesn't matter. They're going to come out and score points at will in the second half. And the thing you got to be encouraged about if you're a fan of the Orange is that they've come out and played with some heart. Pounding, running the football, and the defense is the one that has risen to the occasion.
Dabo Swinney was respectful of the situation and mindful of the history they were walking into here. He knows the last 2 years, a terrific quarterback led a high-flying offense. West Virginia came in here ranked number 11. Syracuse beat them on a Friday night on ESPN last year. Teddy Bridgewater and Louisville came in here on their way to a Sugar Bowl title, undefeated, ranked number 11. Syracuse beat them, so he had a lot of respect for the opponent and the setting. I would think based on this conversation they're going to overturn it, because when you start getting into the details with the replay booth, you're not just walking out and resuming where the ball was spotted.
After further review, the ball was intercepted. It was first down, 10 yards on the 46-yard line. Syracuse ball, first down.
Richie Desir, his first interception. They have gone a school record entering today, 166 passes in a row without an interception. Added 20 more to that before a pick, but now 2 of his last 6 have been intercepted. And Clemson has doubled its number of turnovers for the season in this game. Started the day with 2, now 4. From the 46 of Clemson, 1st and 10, Syracuse. Hunt has running room, lots of it. Ducks down inside the 30 under the hit of Robert Smith. And this crowd is alive.
It's a good job. This is a run pass read. He has his steam out there in the flat. He sees the safety jump him, so that's his read to take off and run and gain positive yards. Now if you're Syracuse, you want to get a little bit of tempo going because you have the Tiger defense on their heels.
18-yard run by Terrell Hunt. Jerome Smith with blockers in front. Delivers a blow to the tackler and goes out of bounds. He ran over Bashad Breeland at the end of the run. Good for another Syracuse first down.
Take the lead of Jerome Smith because you know he's going to give you everything he has, and he's a running back that will not run out of bounds. He'll go for that extra inch if he needs to by trying to run somebody over.
11-yard gain. He's only listed at 6 feet. He admitted to us yesterday he's 5'11". He's every bit of 226 though. Runs for a couple to the 15-yard line. Grady Jarrett, another tackle. Outstanding in the middle of that defensive line all day for Clemson.
Sean, they talk about a lot of guys in the country that play that position. I haven't seen any better than Grady Jarrett on film or in person.
Matched up against an excellent center, Mackie McPherson, on the Remington Award watch list as the best center in the country. Tyson Gully dumped behind the line of scrimmage by Vic Beasley. Ball back at the 18-yard line. Clemson defense trying to rise up now, and a 3rd down and 11.
Well, they like number 18, Chris Clark, in the red zone, but you have size advantages out here to your right with number 88, West, embroiled, number 1.
Hunt pursued by Beasley, throws it away, and it's intercepted, but they're marking Hunt down. Hunt was down on a sack. Corin Wiggins picked it off, but the knee was down. Back at the 25-yard line.
I think you should change the name to Beastly as opposed to Beasley, because he is something, and you can see the knee clearly down before the ball leaves the hand, but speed off the edge just kills.
And the field goal unit is going to come out. Scott Schaefer told us yesterday with the new field goal kicker that 42 is about the longest field goal he would try, and this is going to be 42. Ross Krautman was their field goal kicker, but he's out for the year with a hip injury. Ryan Norton has taken over. Been the kickoff man for the last couple of years. And it is no good. Hooked it wide left. And I think Coach Schaefer's right, because from a couple of yards closer, that one might have snuck inside the left upright. Here's a look at today's Pacific Life game summary. Midway through the third quarter, with Clemson leading 35-17. It had been just about a flawless day for Taj Boyd, but recently his first 2 interceptions of the year. And a rough day for Hunt. If he didn't appreciate the difference between playing Wagner in Tulane and playing Clemson, he certainly does now. Roderick McDowell yanked down by Marquise Sproul. Well, Sammy Watkins has been in and out, and it just hasn't always looked like he's been moving comfortably.
We'll see how much they use him in the second half, and kind of looked like they were trying to protect him that first half, and maybe you shouldn't when you were up 35-7 at the time.
Out of the pistol, Boyd. Handed it off up the middle. McDowell, it's the third possession of the half. Clemson went up and down the field in the first half, scored 5 touchdowns. Here in the third quarter, a 3 and out and an interception off the ricochet thrown by Boyd.
Sammy Watkins in a tight slot, Sean. A lot of times they like to swing him to get him the ball out in space.
Boyd nowhere to throw it, and then he got flattened by Mark J. Sproul. Back inside the 30.
Well, he had Sammy Watkins open on a little read route. He does not see him. That's a rare mistake by Taj Boyd where he has to let it go. Sproul comes in on man-to-man. Take a look at Watkins sitting down at the first. There's the first down. He missed him. A rare misread by Taj Boyd and a nice finish by Sproul.
And Boyd is injured as he goes off. Bradley Pinion to punt to Richie Desir. Nose up, spiral again, room for Desir on the catch. And he's down at the 42. Ben Boulware, Robert Smith combine on the stop. 37-yard punt, 6-yard return tonight. ABC's Saturday Night Football, Ohio State and Northwestern, number 4 and number 16. Presented by Windows, part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. That's at 8 Eastern time tonight. 17 straight wins for Ohio State. But they might need some style points with an eye toward the BCS.
And they do, as you see the injured player.
Ben Boulware.
Now, when you take a look at that game, there's an injury that happened to Ohio State at the end of the Wisconsin game. The quarterback of the defense, and we saw him play, a very good player, and Christian Bryant's out. So that's a challenge. Now you're going to have Corey Pittsburgh Brown come in and play safety. And I'm not a big believer in a 2-quarterback system, but Northwestern does it well with Simeon and Coulter.
Christian Bryant, the Ohio State safety, likely out for the year with a broken ankle suffered last week against Wisconsin. Urban Meyer very upset after the game, emotional about it. losing one of their team leaders. Boulware back on his feet, limping off the help of the medical staff. Oh boy.
A lot of bodies flying around out there.
Boulware's a true freshman. On the sideline, that's the left hand of Taj Boyd and left wrist. Out of the pistol, handed off straight ahead, did Hunt to Jerome Smith. He's spun down by Stephon Anthony.
You know the key point on that? Left hand, left wrist. First of all, you're saying, oh no, Taj Boyd is hurt. Oh good, it's not his throwing hand. Looks a little in pain there.
Second down and 9. Hunt against the 4-man rush. They still get there again. He throws while going down and throws it away. Incomplete pass. Deshaun Williams was taking him down. Apparently he was still just barely off the ground. The coaches of Syracuse are probably going to try to break Hunt of this habit.
Yeah, this is something where big plays happen, and I think, Sean, he's making progress, though. He's not taking a sack. He just has to make it a little bit quicker to throw the ball away.
Well, apparently he knew he'd have enough on it to get it across the boundary, but that's hard to be sure when they're yanking you to the ground. He's 0 for his last 4. Throw over the middle, dropped by Ashton Broyles, who had a first down into Clemson territory.
Well, this is where Ashton struggles. Consistency in catching the ball, and frankly, if Syracuse wants to be in the ACC and be in these games, these are the plays that they have to make. Opportunities to keep the chains moving, and you blow it by a drop pass.
World really recruited as an athlete, quarterback, running back, still learning all the basics of wide receiving, but the biggest basic is catch the ball. Adam Humphries back, it's a fake, and they get it, and much more. Devontae McFarland, a running back, takes it all the way to the 19-yard line.
Playing to win. That's what the Orange are doing. A direct snap on perfect timing. This is not easy to execute. Devontae McFarland does it. Very excited about him as prospects as a future running back. Gets an opportunity and keeps the chains moving for the Orange.
4th and 9. They had a long way to run. McFarland has great speed. He ran for 38. They're in the red zone again. Hunt stayed on his feet. Spins down to the 16-yard line. Good penetration again by Vic Beasley. But Hunt got away. Robert Smith took him down. Under 3 minutes to go. After dominating the first half, it is Syracuse has had the edge in play in the third quarter. Clemson had its way in the first half. Chris, I think back to that interview with Dabo Swinney when he was talking about not kicking the field goal. And he said, well, you know, we're ahead 28-0. In the second half, we'll just go out there and almost like it would be more of the same as an assumption. Hunt throws corner of the end zone, incomplete, and nearly picked off again. Rashad Breeland. Jaron Curse in front of Chris Clark. Cabina rather. There is a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense number 60. 10-yard penalty. Still. Second down.
Well, again, one of the most dangerous men in America coming off the corner. Beasley, or Beasley, which I like to call him, just going to beat him with speed. And it's a good play by Hickey. First of all, he's beat. And he does a good job of holding on. Why? Just to protect his quarterback from taking a vicious shot in the back. He is good. He is really good.
Hickey's a young man who's had to fight through a number of surgeries. He's had 4 surgeries on knees and shoulders. Credits Dr. Jim Bradley, the team orthopedist of the Steelers. Throw back to Hunt. Well, it's a 6-yard gain. Back to the 20-yard line. Third down. They need to get to the 9-yard line for a first down.
And a good job. He didn't make the tackle, but Breeland, number 17, saved a touchdown avoiding the block of Sean Hickey, forcing the ball to cut back inside for the pursuit to get there. You mentioned it, Sean. Broad was a quarterback.
Clemson had 439 yards at the half. They have 445 now, 6 yards in the third quarter.
That's what you want if you're Scott Schaefer. Your guys are showing fight, and you're running fake punts and doing all these things to show.
He set the example.
Yeah, that's right. He's the guy.
Fired up when Clemson didn't kick the field goal, screamed across at the other sideline.
Legal forward pass by the offense. Only one forward pass is allowed on each down. 5-yard penalty, includes loss of down, third down. The previous play is under further review.
It looked like as long as that conversation was going on along with the lineman. Well, if that's forward,
yeah,
that doesn't seem to be forward, does it?
Yeah, I just want you to see Breland right there save the touchdown by avoiding a block. But Sean, the forward pass, I think they're a little confused because watch Hunt right there. It's a backward pass, but he started drifting backwards, and maybe that's what they caught and how they call the forward pass. But clearly from the replay, it should be reviewed because that was not a forward pass.
Yeah, I think this is going to be overturned. The crowd again saw the replays you saw, and they're booing because they didn't think so. Game stopped again with 2:19 to go.
It's Pat Perlis getting on Hickey saying, get that block, and we got it. And here you can see right there, that's a lateral.
Yeah, and even if it's not, even if it's forward, that looks like a lateral, doesn't it?
You might have had two laterals instead of two forward passes.
You can lateral the ball all the way down the field if you want.
Stanford Cal.
Play reinforces.
Does that mean we're spend a lot of time together when we're starting to say the same thing at once?
We have indeed, and your place in heaven is secure for having to put up with this every week. The play went to about the 20-yard line. If they reverse it, this penalty call.
After further review, there was no second forward pass. So therefore, there is no penalty. The result of the play is third down, 12 yards to gain on the 21-yard line.
I think if I were Scott Schaefer, what would annoy me about this is, you get the crowd in the game, you have your team in the game, and now they delay the game like this for a bad call.
Yeah, and that's one that they should not miss, but they did, and they got it right. But I want to go back to Scott Schaefer and how you said he set the tempo. You know how he yelled across the field at Coach Sweeney. The other thing is he goes into that locker room, and I promise you he sat there and looked his men in the eyes and said, look, they're trying to bury you and run up the score. How are you going to respond? He's got to be proud how they responded so far the second half.
On third down, Hunt's going to run, looking for a block from Tyson Gully, who tried. Spencer Shuey laid out the quarterback at the 13. I think with this little time left again, Chris, the field goal doesn't do you much good.
No, absolutely. I think you go for the win. And I think you put it in the hands with a run-pass option with Hunt. Now, the other thing you have is number one, the big slot receiver, Ashton Broyle, matched up on the smaller Martin Jenkins, number 14. Here's Ashton right here in the slot.
On 4th and 3. Crowd wanted to call on Breland. They're not going to get it. Intended for Chris Clark, and that doesn't matter even if he caught it. He was short of the first down. And Clemson holds on downs.
Yeah, and that's the little things. The difference between winning and losing is understanding where the sticks are. On 4th and 3, you don't run short of the route. You have to take him and push him to create some type of separation, then work back but staying behind the chains.
Scott Schaefer thought Breland was all over Clark. So Clemson with just 6 yards of offense. I think they took their foot off the gas pedal, and now they can't get it back in gear. Marquise Sproul dumped McDowell. Here's Chris Cotter.
Wait till you see this catch in the Tennessee-Georgia game. Justin Worley is going to find freshman Marquez North. Does he keep a foot in bounds? The official is right there and says, yes, it was reviewed and it counts. Georgia's in a dogfight right now at Neyland Stadium.
Second and 14. They now have 2 yards of offense in this quarter. Boyd got it off under pressure, lobbing it deep. Watkins to the rescue. He is going to score. Wow. 91 yards. The career high for Taj Boyd, 455 yards passing, surpassing the 428 he threw for last year against Wake Forest. And the 5 touchdown passes matches a career high. It's the 5th time he's done it. Chandler Catanzaro kicked the extra point.
There's speed, then there's Sammy's speed. Rashard Anderson, number 9, does not have safety help. When you don't have safety help, you better get out of your back pedal. Now watch the second gear. There's a little bit, then there's the second gear in the burst, and there's the perfectly thrown ball, and there's the celebration in the end zone.
Well, if there's something a little bit that's bugging him, he still runs faster than everybody else. It looks almost there like he's got a little hitch, but he's still running away from people.
Yeah, he's limping a little bit, but when he's running full speed, he's not limping. And again, one of the most explosive players in America, can hurt you so many ways on the field. Outstanding hands for Sammy Watkins.
I don't want to let that shot pass by without the young man who was on the left corner of that screen, who we absolutely have to mention today. It's Daniel Rodriguez, number 83, the 25-year-old, largely a special teams player. 4 years ago on this day, he was in a hospital recovering from serious wounds suffered in Afghanistan. He was over there for 4 years in the Army, a member of the Army for 4 years, got to the rank of sergeant. Heroic in the Battle of Kamdesh, which was 4 years ago earlier this week. And for his effort, he's won a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star Medal for valor. God bless him and his service. And wonderful that he's here today, and a much-loved member of this Clemson football team. There's Daniel.
You know, I think how great it is for a young man to serve his country in the armed forces and come in and play college football after he's done, and just to be a part of something like this.
In that Battle of Kamdesh, they estimate about 300 Taliban insurgents battled only 38 U.S. servicemen. 8 Americans lost their lives, and many more certainly might have were it not for the heroism of Daniel Rodriguez.
I don't say this in jest, but really understanding what it means to go into a hostile territory and face pressure. Outstanding. Thank you for your service.
Jerome Smith goes to the 17-yard line. The first baseman, DJ Reader, yanked him down.
I've never. It looks like Boog Powell, maybe. Boog Powell could have been close to that.
Well, you know what's interesting? I'm reading about him that he was on the baseball team. They have a terrific program there. I'm thinking, I kept looking, he's 325 pounds. I don't think he's the shortstop. The first baseman.
A lot of pitchers are about 325 pounds.
Look out. Well, the defense back to its first half form. Stephon Anthony dumped the true freshman Brisley Esteem, who they hold in high esteem, no pun intended, on the Syracuse sideline. They think he has a very bright future, but his present wasn't so awesome. Syracuse had its way for much of the quarter, but when you have this kind of explosiveness, it can change in a hurry. (42-14), number 3 Clemson on its way to 5-0 for the year. That 91-yard touchdown, the second longest pass play in Clemson history. Boyd to Watkins. There was a 97-yard pass play back in 1974, November 16th of 74. Mark Feller to Craig Brantley in a home game against Virginia. Won by the Tigers. Here's another double pass. Broyle throwing into triple coverage. And they tackle the receiver when they had 3 men there to defend Chris Clark. Robert Smith says, my bad.
pass interference. Defense, number 27. Penalty will be accepted. Automatic first down.
Football, there's such a thing as intelligent mistakes. Robert Smith makes an intelligent mistake by going ahead and getting the pass interference because they're all beat, as you saw Clark.
Now, I would ask, was that 2 forward passes?
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, it could have been a long gainer because he felt like he wasn't in good position. So they were trying to go fast, and I think the replay booth is going to go back to the
ruling
question.
on the field for the previous play was an incomplete pass. The ruling's on the further review.
Now, see, to me, that one did look like 2 forward passes.
Oh, I think it's right down the line. The ball's being released about the 12.5. And I
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
And even though it might be 2 forward passes, I think what Scott Schaefer is saying is you can't call a penalty from the booth. I mean, it would be the equivalent of going back and saying, hey, there was a holding penalty on that play. You have to throw the flag. And they didn't call it a illegal forward pass. I think Scott Schaefer's upset about a lot of things. Clearly based on his demonstrative behavior.
So my question would be, and I'm just asking you because I know you know the rules as well as anybody. So the second forward pass is incomplete. Now, is that a fumble? Because if it's a forward pass, then it's
an incomplete pass. Just pass interference. Broyle threw the ball down the field. There was pass interference. So that was the penalty.
All right.
So it doesn't matter if it's complete or incomplete. Pass interference. Hunt throws too high for West. But I think the replay booth was stopping it to see if it was 2 forward passes, and they can't do that.
Yeah, it's got to be called.
They're calling a penalty from the booth if they call down and say, hey, wait a minute, you missed 2 forward passes on the same play. And that's the can of worms that the rules people have never wanted to open, because if you start calling penalties from the booth, you know, as we said, you call holding on every play. I think that's why Scott Schaefer's a little irritated too, that perhaps there hasn't been a holding call or 2, while Clemson's put up 532 yards of offense. Hunt dodged the rush. Got to the 34-yard line. Stephon Anthony made the tackle. They started to send the punt unit on, and now they will. Syracuse just 3 out of 16 on 3rd down today. That was a number that jumped out at you, Chris.
Yeah.
As Dixon comes on to punt about the Clemson defense coming into the day. Their opponents had converted on just under 26% of their 3rd downs. That's an excellent number. It was 10th best in the country starting today.
And Brent Venables credits that to playing intelligent defense, understanding down and distance and formations which they're trying to attack.
Fair catch made by Adam Humphries on the punt by Riley Dixon. 46-yard punt. 13:39 to go on homecoming at the Dome.
Welcome back to the Carrier Dome. The Clemson Tigers, they are going to have a new quarterback out on the field right now. Cole Stout will go in for Taj Boyd. Boyd injured his hand a little bit earlier ago in the game. He was favoring the left thumb knuckle. They had it wrapped for a while. They also iced it. No confirmation on whether he's out for the rest of the game, but he'll take a break for now.
Well, Cole Stout is in there. He's been a tremendous backup quarterback. Jamon Hopper chased out of bounds by Cameron Lynch.
Dublin, Ohio, Cole
How
Stout.
about those numbers?
Yeah, that's pretty good. If your guy gets hurt, this is not bad to come in with, is it?
93% for the season. Zach Brooks is the running back. They keep it on the ground. He finds a seam. Woo! Delivers a blow to the defenders and goes to the 34. And by the way, that's not like Stout's thrown 10 passes, 11 passes, 12. He's thrown 31 passes and completed 29 of them, with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. 13-yard gain. And he's going to throw it. Jamon Hopper out of bounds with the catch. Cole certainly looks the part at 6'4", 210. Resembles his dad. Cliff Stout, former NFL quarterback. 5th-round draft choice of the Steelers in 1977. Played a couple of years in the USFL and then returned to the NFL. DJ Howard, the running back. Now Clemson, it seems, content to keep the clock running with the 28-point lead and under 13 minutes to go.
I think if you're looking for something for Coach Schaefer, again, you point to the guys how we played in the second half. But on offense with Clemson, Sean, they're so explosive, and I'm just impressed of how they spread the ball around. It makes it very difficult to defend.
And coaches talk about wanting coaching points even in a win, and Dabo Swinney will have some today. Jamon Hopper banged out of bounds by Darrell Eskridge. It looked like emotionally when Clemson began the second half, they weren't the same team that they were in the first half when they marched up and down.
Yeah, and you know, that can happen, and that's one thing that you try to guard against, and we sometimes forget that these guys are 18 years old and they can get distracted, and it's easy, and football is a humbling game. And so that's something for Coach Dabo Swinney to go ahead and address with his team, something to build on. And then Scott can address something with his team about that's a way not to quit. Now we just got to work on starting faster.
Bradley Pinion on the punt to Richie Desir. Fair catch signaled and made at the 20. 11:48 to go. It's a 41-yard punt. It's a 4-touchdown lead for the number 3 team in the country.
ESPN College Football is presented by new Raspberry 5-Hour Energy. Available for a limited time. Get yours now.
The Juicer student pitch competition here at Syracuse University. It's much like the TV show The Shark Tank. Students present business ideas. A panel of judges made up of the faculty select the winners. And they do receive some startup funding to help turn their dreams into reality. Prince Tyson Gully, the ball carrier. Jaron Kearse made the tackle tonight on ESPN. This should be an excellent game. Washington with the best team it has had clearly under Steve Sarkisian. Clearly because he says so, and who would know better than Steve. Taking on Stanford. That's at 10:30 Eastern time tonight on ESPN, part of Tailgate Week. Fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. It's also live on Watch ESPN.
And the biggest difference in Washington is Keith Price and how he's playing this year from last year.
Hunt got rid of it just as he was about to get sacked, pressured by Shaq Lawson. Threw it in the general direction of Beckett Wales, and Terrell Hunt now 1 for his last 12.
Well, they made the switch from Drew Allen to Terrell Hunt, and you got to let him ride this out. This is all a learning experience for him. He's getting to see things, and hopefully he grows and improves from this performance and seeing this type of speed that he hasn't faced yet as a collegiate quarterback.
So Drew Allen, the transfer from Oklahoma. Hunt again under pressure. Swung it out to Tyson Gully, and he's going to be dumped for a loss by Gary Peters. There's Drew Allen, senior from San Antonio, graduated from Oklahoma, backed up there for most of his career. Of course, behind some pretty good quarterbacks. For the most part, it was Landry Jones. But he was available. He came here to Syracuse. The assumption was during the summer that he would be the starting quarterback, but it was a spirited battle. Coaches told Terrell Hunt about a week before the season began he was going to be the backup, and he was emotionally distraught about it. Riley Dixon punts. And Terrell admitted to us that he shed some tears. He kept playing, practicing hard. Allen struggled through 6 interceptions. Hunt got the chance and led them to the win last week against Tulane. 36-yard punt by Dixon. Here's a look at our Pacific Life game summary with 10:38 to go in the fourth quarter. Record-setting day for Taj Boyd. 455 yards passing. Clemson's single game record for the second longest touchdown pass in the history of the school. His 5th and final of the day to Sammy Watkins, 91 yards. The 5 touchdown passes went for 60, 42, 17, 40, and 91. That averaged 50 yards per touchdown pass. We thank Marty Aronoff for the math.
Well, his accuracy on the deep ball is really impressive to me.
Stout throws. Oh, he's crushing his completion percentage with that one. Incomplete, looking for Tremont Hopper. And in the case of that pass, it was a hopper.
Moving. I mean, I'm just thinking of Florida State because we saw Florida State. They're in my mind. And what a matchup. I mean, that's athlete against athlete. And we're talking about Taj Boyd and how good he is. If you hadn't had a chance to see Jameis Winston play, he's the real deal.
C.J. Davidson at running back. They give him the carry. He has some running room. An 8-yard gain to the 46-yard line. Well, that game's in 2 weeks, and the task next week for Dabo Swinney, we got his Clemson team to concentrate on Boston College. We have a pretty good perspective. We saw both teams on the road against similar caliber opponents. Florida State at Boston College last week. I think, you know, in a game with a lot of talent and things looking pretty even, the home field advantage has to factor in a lot.
Oh, I absolutely think that, but I do think Florida State is going to be up to that challenge. And teams are similar, Sean, because when you watch Florida State play, they spread the ball over the field. And then with Clemson, it's the same thing. And they don't have the high-powered running backs that Florida State has, but they have effective running backs.
Stout long pass, incomplete. I'm going to put you on the spot. You've seen both teams in person. You had to take out the home field advantage. Just take the talent of Clemson or Florida State. You could draft which team?
Well, the fact that it's at Clemson, which is a great venue for college football and a tremendous home field advantage, I'll give the slight edge to Clemson with the right to.
You can't factor in the home field advantage. Which talented group of players do you like better? I would take Clemson's team. I won't cop out. I'll answer my own question.
I like
slight edge to Clemson in talent, I think.
And I'll take Florida State. I really will. I mean, they just got to improve defensively, which they had a big defensive game shutting out the Terps today.
Richie Desir, fair catch of the punt by Bradley Pinion. Well, Jameis Winston, talk about completion percentage coming down. We had him last week at Boston College. He went into that game about 78%, but still an amazing 73% as a freshman. Now 17 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
The thing that sets him apart is his strength in the pocket. We saw guys trying to take him down, and you know, frankly, guys look like little leaguers bouncing off of him, much like Ben Roethlisberger in the NFL. Just that strong guy that's tough to bring down.
Drew Allen, as you saw, is back in for Syracuse at quarterback. First appearance of the day, but he started the first 3 ball games. And the big problem for him was the turnovers, the interceptions. He threw 1 touchdown pass and 6 interceptions. One was a fine line in the judgment of the coaches between the 2 quarterbacks. That's going to get the other guy a chance, and it did for Hunt. George Morris steps out to the 21-yard line. Martin Jenkins made the tackle.
You know, the question that I would have for Scott Schaefer is he committed to Hunt? Or are they going to go back to Drew Allen? I think at this point in the season, you have to make a decision where you're going to go, especially with a young quarterback, and you let him grow within the system.
Morris trying to find a hole on 3rd and 5, and he cannot. Stuffed by the Clemson defense. Roderick Byers at the bottom of the pile. Syracuse now 3 out of 18 on 3rd down. They're going to punt again. Well, I think they went to Hunt for a reason, and I think it would be awfully hard to blame Hunt for a lot of what happened here today. I mean, they were overmatched in a lot of different places.
And the future of this program, at least for the next few years, is going to be with Hunt. And
Riley Dixon to punt for the 9th time. Joined us lady in the longest punt in school history earlier today. 75-yarder. Adam Humphries. He's had a great day himself. 3 catches for 118 yards and a couple of touchdowns. There is a flag down on this punt. Darius Kelly shoved Humphries out of bounds. Flag thrown near where that happened.
return, legal block in the back. On the receiving team, number 18. 10-yard penalty. 50. First down.
I think Pat Garvey's ready for this day to end as well. Jadar Johnson called for the penalty. Tonight on ABC's Saturday Night Football, Ohio State and Northwestern. Battle of two unbeatens. Ohio State, number 4, Northwestern, number 16. It's presented by Windows. It's part of Tailgate Week, fired up by Kingsford Charcoal. And they'll be fired up for that game. They've been ready to go since game day was there this morning. It's a long day of preparation for the fans. C.J. Davidson carries to the 40. You know both teams very well. What are your thoughts about your alma mater on the road tonight in Evanston?
Well, I think they will respond well on the road when you look at having Braxton Miller, and he just brings confidence. But to me, this is a signature game for Northwestern to show that they've arrived in the Big Ten, and they haven't beaten Ohio State in a long, long time. And you almost get the feel like there's upset in the air. Very excited. And a lot of people know about Urban Meyer, Sean, what a great coach Urban is. But Pat Fitzgerald, to me, and we've been around a lot of coaches, he has command of that team. He's a smart guy, X's and O's, and he's invested in Northwestern. He's a guy that, frankly, it'll take a lot of money to get him to leave that school. He loves Northwestern, and it shows.
Hope he stays there forever. That's the way it should be. Chad Kelly, the third quarterback to play in the game, takes off running. We talked earlier about how Sam Cooper, the tight end, recovered in 5 months from an ACL. Chad Kelly hurt himself in the same spring game. You can see the big brace on his right knee. And Sam Cooper credited Kelly for coming back to action from an ACL surgery in 5 months. They rehabbed together. They pushed each other. And Kelly certainly looks like he's well healed after that 15-yard run.
And he's from Niagara Falls, so a good opportunity for him to have some folks come down and watch him play.
It's about 2.5-hour drive from here, west of here. Northwestern, by the way, if they could win that game tonight, they'd be 5-0 for 2 straight years for the first time in 108 years. They did it 5 years in a row way back when in 1901 and 1905. Our statistician Marty Aronoff was there to chronicle all the exports of the Wildcats back
Covered
then.
a few of those, yeah. But I look at Northwestern, and the thing I like about Pat, and I know I say this a lot, but he recruits to what he knows, and he goes out and does a great job nationally of bringing kids into Evanston, which is a beautiful city right by Chicago, so it's a pretty good sell for Coach Fitzgerald.
And just a good person. You know, he's clearly a guy with a tremendous amount of character and integrity. Here's Daniel Rodriguez. We told you a story earlier, in a hospital 4 years ago today, recovering from wounds suffered in battle in the Army. So that hit from Wayne Morgan, even though it was rock solid, isn't going to faze this guy.
Oh, absolutely not. And you just love to see the kid come back from what he's come back from and have a chance to play in the Carrier Dome and make a catch for the Clemson Tigers. Actually, 4th catch of the year for Daniel.
Yeah. Throw it to me again. I've dealt with a lot more than that hit. Timeout called by Clemson on 1st and 10
Timeout.
at the Syracuse 24-yard line.
Timeout. 30 seconds timeout.
Jimmy Johnson, after winning last week at Dover, now right on the heels of Matt Kenseth, who won the first 2 races up the chase. Now Kenseth trying to hold off JJ. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN at Kansas. Brought to you by Dodge Trucks. Can also be seen live on Watch ESPN. Kenseth won the last 2 races held at Kansas. And there are the point standings. Who do you like emerging when it's all said and done? You have to pick who's going to be the champion at the end of the chase.
Well, of course, I like my main man, JJ, and he's got to make sure he's not loose in the corners on the race. But I like Biffle coming up from behind, the Ford man.
Your mind is a little loose in the corners. It's a big problem.
Do you even know what that means, Chris?
No, he doesn't. Shannon, please. It was bad enough the first time. Here's C.J. Davidson.
Got loose on the corner, Sean.
Yes, he did. There's been a lot of Tigers loose all over this Carrier Dome field. .615 yards of offense now. You can add it to that 602 you just saw with the last play. Now 615. C.J. Davidson. You can tell how good a team is, how deep they are when we do our meetings with the coaches and the offensive coordinator raves about how talented the fourth string tailback is. In this case, C.J. Davidson. That's when you know you're pretty stacked.
And just looking ahead to Florida State and Clemson, I thought our meetings with Jimbo Fisher and Chad Morris, the offensive coordinators respectively, both of them just say the amount of talent that they have is ridiculous.
Here's Kelly out of bounds inside the 5, a little bit short of the first down. Well, the ACC, for a long time now, has been maligned, but I think the win for Clemson to start the year against Georgia was a big statement. And Dabo Swinney says this is the best team he's had. It's the deepest. And this team does look like a legit national championship contender.
Well, they've always had the power on offense, as witnessed with another touchdown, but defensively, they're pretty strong.
C.J. Davidson powered it in. 7th Clemson touchdown of the game. With just under 4 minutes to go. 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for the redshirt sophomore playing for his hometown university. He's from Clemson, South Carolina. Chandler Catanzaro adds the extra point. Actually, they put Eamon Lakeup in to kick the extra point, give him some experience. Time for our All-State good hands play. And we'll salute the right hand of Taj Boyd today, which threw 5 touchdown passes.
455 yards, and the thing that stood out was the deep ball. The receiver never had to work, just go up and catch it and do what you do best. Sprint to the end zone.
And this was the topper. 2nd longest pass play in Clemson history, the 91-yarder to Watkins. 20 of 27 for a career high, school record 455, matches his career high with 5 touchdowns. And he'll certainly be annoyed that he threw his first 2 interceptions of the year. Clemson doubled its turnover total for the season in this game.
I had a chance to speak with Taj yesterday, a very confident young man in his ability, and proved it today.
Eamon Lakeup's going to kick off. But we really liked Jameis Winston last week. And the way he played against Boston College, he certainly held his candidacy, and he certainly did again today with that rout of Maryland. So the ACC certainly has at least 2 quarterbacks who are Heisman candidates, serious Heisman candidates, and they're going to play against each other in 2 weeks. Their teams will. Devontae McFarland ran it back to the 24. Gary Peters, another special teams tackle. Here's our ESPN experts poll. 16 people from various walks of life who vote every week. And this was entering this weekend. Marcus Mariota would win the Heisman Trophy if it were held today. And as we know, it is not.
Yeah, and of course you have not listed or pictured would be Jameis Winston, who's listed 6th.
He was 6th.
And I want to put it in terms so Raf can understand that they have the quarterbacks that are point guards that distribute the basketball to the talent around them. That's what Jameis Winston and Taj Boyd both do very well.
And by Raf, you mean our good pal,
Yes,
Bill
I do.
Raftery.
Yeah, I always like to give a Raf shout out once in a while.
Been in this building many times on Big Mondays. Devontae McFarland, the ball carrier on the last play. Coach Boeheim also here today. The only time the Clemson football or basketball team had been here, the basketball team came up here in 1990, but played Seton Hall. Here's the freshman Grizzly Esteem to the 31. Well, it's been a historic day in a number of ways, a special day here at Syracuse as they retired the number of one of their all-time greats, Don McPherson, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame. There's his coach, Dick McPherson. They did pronounce it differently. As Coach Mack used to say, there is no fear in McPherson. And there wasn't really any fear that we could tell in Don McPherson either, who led the Orange to an 11-0-1 season for Coach Mack in his senior year, 1987. There's McFarland off and running. And he's dragged down inside the 15-yard line. Well, for Don McPherson and the Syracuse fans who have remained, they got a little glimpse of what they think is the future. Coach Mack and Sandra enjoying that as well. 83 years young and still as vibrant as ever.
Yeah, I met Don.
And Sandra's well under.
Yes. Well under
83.
80.
They've been married for 55 years.
Well under 80. But I met Don back in 87. And Sean, when I first met him, when we were players, we're same age, he had that presence about him, that quarterback, that it quality. And certainly Donnie had that as a player and a person.
George Morris carries. And how about Coach Mack? When we asked him Thursday, when we had the privilege of spending time with him, because believe me, folks, every moment spent with that man is a gift. We said, how long have you and Sandra been married now? And he said, well, let me figure it out. What was the date of the famous Baltimore Colts New York Giants game? You know, Alan Amici, when did that happen? Typical football coach keeps track of his wedding date by a football game. One of the great games in history.
Oh, that's how football guys think.
He said, I think it's 55 years.
Double nickels. I could sit there and listen to those stories all night from Coach Mack.
They are so proud, he and Sandra, of their grandson, Mackie.
Full start. Offense number 87, 5-yard penalty, second down.
He's not in the game right now in this route, but Mackey grew up wanting to play for Syracuse. He wasn't alive when his grandfather was the football coach here, but he grew up around the program as a ball boy, and many thought he wasn't good enough to play. There's Mackey, went to CBA right down the street. But Doug Marrone offered him a scholarship, thought at the very least he'd be an excellent long snapper. And he has been a starter now for 3 seasons on the Remington watch list. George Morris, the ball carrier. I know Mackey made his grandfather very happy when he elected to come to Syracuse, but Coach Mack's daughter, Maureen, Mackey's mom, wasn't happy. Harvard recruited her son. She wanted her son to go to Harvard, get that Ivy League education, but also get away from being Coach Mack's grandson here. Well, nobody around here refers to that young man as Coach Mack's grandson anymore. He has made a great name for himself on the field and off. He's a standout in the classroom, 3.5 GPA as well.
And they say he's small, he's 290 pounds, but what he does well, Sean, and what NFL scouts like to see is guys that can pull and get to the second level, which he certainly can do.
He was 238 when he got here. It's been a long, steady weight gain for Mackie McPherson. Josh Parris caught the pass from Drew Allen, and he deserves some credit. Darrell Hunt was telling us yesterday, and the coaches, Allen very disappointed when he finally got a chance to be a starting quarterback as a senior, transferred from Oklahoma, only to play for a couple of games and lose the job. But he has continued to have a great attitude. Hunt says he's a big help during the games and on the practice field and the film room. And who knows, his day may come again sooner rather than later. He's 3 for 3. Half minute to go, 4th and 2. Allen throws, batted around and intercepted. J-Ron Curse in the end zone. And that's the 4th pick of the day for the Clemson defense. Deflected en route by Tony Stewart and intercepted by Curse. You know, we've talked about Clemson going forward, the showdown in 2 weeks with Florida State. Gets tough for Syracuse. The back half of the schedule here, Chris, is loaded with a lot of away games, and I think they're realizing that life in the ACC is going to be tougher than it was for most of their time in the Big East.
Yeah, and you look at it, and I think there's a lot of things to grow from, and they're going to progress as Hunt progresses. They have to get some things worked out defensively, especially with the communication, because that's where Clemson hurt them a little bit. Was there some breakdown in communication on the back end?
Nick Schuessler in a quarterback to take a knee. They played 4 different quarterbacks in the game. And Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers, a convincing win over Scott Schaefer and the Syracuse Orange. 624 yards of total offense for Clemson as they go to 5-0. Taj Boyd, 455 yards of passing yardage and 5 touchdowns. Final score 49-14. College football postgame coming up next. Be sure to tune in